What is up, guys? For this video I wanted to show you something that I bought. I finally bought a real camera. This is a Sony HDR CX240. It's a camcorder. I wanted to make a video just to show you guys what it looks like, so I figured this would be a good opportunity to show you guys the camera. I decided to finally get this thing because I still wasn't happy with how the phone looked. Didn't want to buy a new phone just to get something with a good camera. This camera that I bought, I picked up, one, because its price, which was, it was like $190 before tax, and then I bought the replacement plan from Walmart as well, so if I break it, I can get a new one. It's got really good video quality and features that are video specific. Basically doesn't have anything else. It's very no frills. There's not a bunch of other stuff that I don't need. The problem with a lot of entry-level cameras is that they have a lot of features that are based around taking photos, not videos. So in order to get a lower spec or cheaper, entry-level camera with decent video properties, most of the time you'll have to actually buy a camera with a bunch of extra garbage you don't need and pay more. Nice thing about this, and with camcorders in general, is that they're focused around taking video. They don't have a bunch of features for photos and stuff that you don't need, at least that I don't need, which saves you a lot of money and gets you a product that fits your needs a little bit better. It's full 1080p, 30 frames per second. That's the max that this thing can do, and that is what I'm currently recording in. This camera has really good stabilization. I don't know if it's digital or if it's mechanical. I could probably look it up, but it's very good. It's one of the things you guys are going to notice from now on, is that videos are going to be very smooth and very stable. It's not going to be a bunch of shakiness as I'm walking around and stuff. It's also going to have way better lighting, which is another issue we've had in here. It's not so bad anymore now that I've upgraded a lot of the lighting in the garage itself. It's still going to be nice, especially depending on whether I'm like underneath of a vehicle or if I'm not in the garage working on something or I'm making a video somewhere else. Opening the screen is how you turn the camera on, which is pretty nice because it's really quick and really easy and has a pretty quick boot time, but it could get in the way and become a little bit cumbersome. Also, this camera is very light, by the way, which is another nice thing about it. It's light and it's small and it'll fit in my pocket. For the money, this was pretty much the best I could have gotten for something new. I may have been able, if I looked around for a bit longer, I may have been able to find a better camera used for about the same price or maybe a little bit more. It has a really good zoom feature, which I probably will never use, but if I come all the way back here and let's try to zoom in on that gray trash can up there, there's a label on it. It's actually got it's pretty crazy. I don't think I've ever had something with this good of a zoom. Let's zoom all the way in. That's maxed out. Yeah. It's very difficult to hold the thing still while you're zoomed all the way in there, but it's got a really good autofocus, really good zoom. I'm in pretty much the darkest part of the garage right now, which is back here in this corner. You can see stuff better than I can actually see stuff with my own eyes, which is kind of weird. Of course, it has a screen, unlike the GoPro did, so if something is too dark, or if you guys just can't plain see something, I will know, which is nice. I won't have to wait until I edit a video to find out that, oh, you guys can't see a thing. I originally thought it was going to cost more. It was part of the reason I didn't want one, but I was basically looking for the wrong thing the whole time because I was looking at like full-on DSLRs and stuff like that. I didn't realize you could get camcorders. Like, I didn't even really think about these until I went into Walmart and saw them, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, and decided to pick this one up. I think I'm going to do a full review on this camera in a month or two after I've used it and gotten comfortable with it and kind of figure out all of its quirks and see if there's any things I do and really don't like about it, because it wouldn't be very fair to do a review on it right now because I just got it. I don't have a handle for it, so I'm just holding the camera by, the camera itself. I do have a handle on the way. It's the same one that Aaron from 802 Garage uses, called a Photo Pro, something like that. I can't remember. Bought it on eBay and the seller hasn't shipped it yet, so I'm gonna have to probably get a hold of them and see what's going on with it, because I bought it 3 days ago and they still haven't mailed it out, which is not very good. Now that I've shown you guys the camera, hopefully you guys enjoy it. Let me know what you think of the new camera quality in the comments, because I'm very happy with it so far. It's gonna be really cool when I go to edit this to see what it actually looks like. but it should definitely blow the GoPro and the cell phone away. It's got a nice wide angle lens too on it. It's not quite as wide as the GoPro, but it's still very wide. The GoPro has an unusually wide angle because it's, I don't even know what they call those cameras, action cameras or something. It's basically, that's the reason it's got such a wide angle, is so that it can capture a bunch. But yeah, let me know what you think of it. I can already tell just walking around and stuff that it's a lot more stable and a lot more clear. So definitely let me know what you think of it. Anyway, got some stuff for the truck. Basically the last few items that I need before I can install the Megasquirt. So I've got this MSD Blaster 2. Bought this thing used. Basically the guy that had it mounted it and then never ran it, and you can tell it's never been ran because the thing's still spotless. Either that or he cleaned it really well. Made in USA. Good coil. This is the like fluid filled old style coil. Bought this because I'm using the first gen Dakota distributor on my truck, which uses old school style spark plug wires and stuff, and the one that runs to the coil will plug directly into this. I don't have to swap like cable ends or anything or put a new one on it to make it work. Otherwise I probably would have gone with the Blaster SS, but this thing will still be way more powerful than the factory ignition coil would be, and I can mount it right up on the firewall like this. This is a used Mallory Hi-Fire ignition. It's just a basic ignition coil box. You got your basic hookups, so you got trigger, ground, and then the coil power. It's been used, and it looks like it was in something for quite a long time. Maybe somebody bought a car and parted it out, and that's how they ended up with this thing, because it looks like it sat and got really dirty. Hopefully it works. I bought it for 40 bucks. I couldn't find a better deal on a used one. Actually, this one had been listed for only an hour or two when I found it, so I was pretty lucky to come across that one. Got those. That's the last two things that I needed to install the Megasquirt on the truck, and I needed those because I can't run the wasted spark setup on a 6-cylinder because my Megasquirt 2 is not capable, at least without modification. I don't know if the Megasquirt 2 can actually run wasted spark setups like the 420A setup, for example, on anything bigger than a 4-cylinder, but if it is able to, I would definitely need modifications made to the Megasquirt to be able to run that, because it's only got 2 ignition coil drivers and it would need 1 more put into it. I needed that because the Megasquirt can output the signal that it needs in order for it to run, because it just uses, it can use like multiple signals, I think, actually, but it needs like a negative trigger or something like that, and the Megasquirt is able to send that output directly to it, and then that thing will just control ignition all by itself. And I already had everything else. I had the Megasquirt, the wiring harness, the bigger injectors. If that box does not work, because I think the listing was as is, I will have to go buy another one, which brings me to another thing about the Megasquirt setup on this. I'm going to run it at least for a little while, is I'm going to do a piggyback setup, and I'm going to leave the factory harness intact, like all of the sensors, like the coolant and air temp sensor, and I think those are the only things I need to splice off of. Oh, throttle position. I think those are the only sensors I have to hook up to, because I've got the wideband gauge, which will be sending the air-fuel ratio signal to the ECU. It's going to have its own crank position sensor in the distributor, so I won't have to tap into the factory one, because the Megasquirt doesn't have a code written to be compatible with the V6 crank position sensor. So I'll be able to leave the factory harness completely intact. That way, if that ignition box doesn't work or something else is wrong with the Megasquirt, or if it doesn't like the Hall sensor, something like that, doing it that way will mean that I can plug everything back in from the factory ECU, and the truck will still run until I've got whatever issue it is figured out with the Megasquirt. I'm going to probably work on that either tomorrow or the day after and get that installed. It should actually be fairly quick to do. Probably going to leave the stock injectors in for like the first start attempt, just so it doesn't have giant 60-pounders in it, because it's going to be a little bit more difficult to tune with the 60-pounders in it, because it'll be a little bit more forgiving than the 60-pounders. Otherwise it'll just run dumb rich and probably be a pain in the butt, because a small adjustment to the fuel setup would probably cause a much bigger change. So at least if I can test it, get it to run with the stock injectors, then I'll switch to the 60-pounders and adjust it from there. That is the update on the Megasquirt setup. That's going to be the next video after this, is installing that. I went and installed some lights that Aaron from 802 Garage gave me. I'll have the link to his channel in the description. He hooked me up with these two while I was up there because he had a handful of these sitting up on the rafters in his garage, so he gave me those two. So I went and got them hooked up, went to Walmart, and this is supposed to be a floor switch for like a lamp or something. Got both of those up here. Like I said before, my workspace is going to be getting moved over here. And in fact, I may finally, permanently move everything. Since I have those two lights up there, I'll have good lighting over here now. And I want to take that light, hang it over the workbench, and maybe start using that because I have my vise over there. There's really not a whole lot else to do to the garage to have everything done. There's some still trash that needs thrown out. We want to pull the rest of this junk off the ceiling because it's all destroyed. There's like I think it's a doorbell set up run across the ceiling because it used to be wired into the doorbell. Once I have the shelf in here, like I've said before, I want to get some LED moon lights to put under the shelf. That way they'll kind of help light up the sides over this way because it's going to be a little bit dark over there. I can hang some up on this thing and maybe line them underneath of the door rails. I'm not sure if I'll be able to, but I can definitely line them up underneath of this low ceiling here, and then of course put them along underneath that shelf once it's in. And I'll relocate the stuff that is hanging up here. I could probably have them just hang a little bit lower underneath of where the shelf is going to be. Air compressor I want to move somewhere, and I want to get like an auxiliary tank or something so I can actually use that and get my air tools going again, because that would be nice. I have a Craftsman Air Impact. It's a smaller one. It's not a real big one, but I do have an Impact that's for air, and it'd probably do a little bit better than my electric one does anyway. I have an air hammer and stuff. That's going to be the end of the video. Hope you guys have enjoyed seeing the little reveal, I guess you could call it, of the new camera. This is how videos are going to look for hopefully a long time. Hopefully this camera does a good job and I keep it around for a while. I don't have to look for another upgrade for a while. This thing should do more than what I need, but we'll just have to see. Let me know what you guys think. That's where I'm going to end the video for you guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys later.